from the Schieffer School of Journalism. This is TCU News Now.
Hello and welcome to TCU News Now. I'm Julia Zaninovich.
And I'm Hannah Coons. We have breaking news for you this afternoon.
TCU 360 confirms that the man suspected of burglarizing a Milton Daniel dorm room last weekend has been arrested. TCU Police Sergeant Kelly Ham identified the man as Tuan Phat Du, who is 25 years old. He is currently being held on a $100,000 bond. Du is a 2012 TCU graduate who majored in graphic design. The crime was initially reported Friday night when a female student found Du hiding in a dorm room closet.
For the latest news on this developing story, visit TCU360.com. And Fort Worth police are still looking for suspects in another crime committed last weekend. The man told police he and his daughter, who is a TCU student, were walking south on University to their car after the Kansas State game Saturday night when a sedan stopped on University. A male passenger opened the door and yelled at the student. He then got out and tried to grab her when her dad stepped between them and told the man he needed to keep driving. The man got back into the car and took off. The vehicle is a 2004 green Saturn, a four-door sedan. The Texas license plate on the car is CCN 3609. The suspects are described as Hispanic males. Police say the passenger is about 5'10", 185 pounds, and had short black hair, possibly a buzz cut. He was wearing a gray sweatshirt at the time. There are no further details on the driver at this time. TCU Police asks anyone with information to call 817-257-7777.
The Fort Worth Zoning Commission met today to vote on regulations for off-campus housing. Allie Montag is in the newsroom with the story. Allie?
The Fort Worth Zoning Commission passed a plan on the 12th to rezone the area around TCU. Right now, property owners can lease a house to as many as 5 unrelated people at the same time. With the new plan, it will be lowered to only 3. But there is an exception. Property owners who are already leasing to more than 3 can continue to do so. City Council will have to approve the plan before it can take effect. In the newsroom, Allie Montag, TCU News Now.
Last week we reported that the RAD for Men's classes were postponed due to lack of interest among male students. Our own Brad Hardcastle sat down with RAD instructor Pam Christian and sex crimes expert Brittany Chapman to find out more about why men don't sign up for the free self-defense classes.
Do more women tend to show up for RAD classes than men?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
The stigma attached to male rape is incredibly powerful in this society.
I think that on a day-to-day basis, a woman knows that something actually can occur because it's talked about more so. Men have a tendency to think nothing really will happen, and they don't try to prevent that.
Usually it has to do with the ideas that males can't be seen as vulnerable like females can because they're supposed to be more physically powerful, and that's just not the case.
They don't think they can be victimized, and so they don't think about it, so they don't plan. So whereas a woman knows that there is that window of opportunity.
Maybe there's a myth that men should inherently know how to defend themselves and, quote, real men wouldn't experience sexual victimization, and this is just not true.
A man could be sexually assaulted just like a woman could be. And so, but just resisting any assault is what we focus on.
Most people who experience this type of traumatic violence, you have no idea how you're going to react in that situation.
One of the program's original instructors, Anthony Solano, said the length of the 9 to 12 hour classes is another reason for the lower attendance of RAD for Men classes.
Applications for the incoming class of 2019 are on the rise. As of the early application deadline in November, 10,049 students have applied. This is about 2,000 more than the early deadline last year. Dean of Admissions Ray Brown estimates 18,000 students will apply for the upcoming class. He said the Horned Frogs football team is a factor in the high numbers. The final deadline for applications is February 15th.
Tuition is set to increase next fall. The increase will cost students about $2,100. Chancellor Boschini said the Board of Trustees approved the 5.5% hike last week. The additional money will help fund employees' expenses, student programming, and 2 parking garages. The full cost of the attendance has not been finalized.
A new program is highlighting influential students on campus. Cultural Heroes is a new initiative that recognizes first-year students for their dedication, academic success, and positive influence at TCU. Faculty and staff can nominate first-year students based off the specific attributes highlighted each month. November's theme is health and wellness. There have been 6 students recognized as cultural heroes since the program began in September.
Our way of recognizing first-year students who really exemplify certain characteristics that we know help first-year students be successful.
If the college football season ended this week, TCU would be in the playoffs. The Frogs leaped over Alabama and Auburn to the number 4 spot in the college playoff rankings after beating former number 7 Kansas State on Saturday. Conference foe Baylor moved up 5 spots to number 7 after trouncing Oklahoma and Norman, while one-loss Oregon took the number 2 spot from undefeated Florida State. This Saturday, Gary Patterson's squad will travel to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the Jayhawks. College basketball season is now underway. Both TCU men's and women's teams won their exhibition games and are set to start regular season play Friday evening. The men will take on Prairie View A&M at Wilkerson Grimes Athletic Center, while the Lady Frogs face Houston Baptist at the University Recreation Center. Both games are scheduled to tip off at 7 p.m.
The TCU community came together this week to celebrate Veterans Day. The TCU community, as well as students and faculty from Starpoint School, came together to celebrate Veterans Day. The day was honored through a ceremony Tuesday morning. The TCU Veterans Services Task Force hosted the event, as well as a cake-cutting ceremony and a luncheon. Veteran official at TCU, Ricardo Vitia, said there are 333 GI Bill benefit users on campus. He said it's important they and their families be honored.
I believe it's important not just for our campus, but any organization or entity in general to honor our veterans, as they are the sole purpose why we are able to live the way we do.
Starpoint students walked with a veteran as part of the day's events. The walk began at Sadler Hall and ended in the campus commons. TCU senior and former specialist in the Army National Guard, Christina Mungia, said the events allowed the TCU community to identify and thank veterans on campus.
There are so few people who have served anymore that people have kind of lost track of what it means to serve and sacrifice. So in part, it's an education, but it's also in part for those of us who still believe in thanking our veterans. And it gives them an opportunity to not only identify the veterans on campus, but as well as to say thanks.
The Veterans Services Task Force is hosting a Veterans Lounge through the end of the week. You can meet veterans and make cards for the troops in the lounge. After the break, learn about the new events of the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life is hosting this semester.
And see how one student's class project turned into something worth more than just a grade.
It's a new chapter for TCU. Some call it a Cinderella story, others the little school that could. But Horned Frogs know it's a legacy of hard work, dedication, and commitment. All this didn't happen overnight, but over time and on the shoulders of giants. We are here because of an expectation of excellence in everything. But this isn't our happily ever after. This is just the beginning.
The Office of Religious and Spiritual Life has been busy this semester.
Associate Chaplain Allison Lanza is bringing some unique opportunities to students who want to catch a break and relax a bit. The Office of Religious and Spiritual Life has a full semester of events for students, starting with a unique way to meditate called a prayer labyrinth.
A prayer labyrinth is an ancient way in the Christian tradition to walk and find peace and to pray and meditate, to be still. A labyrinth is like a maze, but you can't get lost, which is its best trick. It's a way to, you walk and you turn and it continually turns you so that you're walking slowly and sort of forced to walk slowly and to slow down. So as you enter, you pray on that word, you can look at nature around you, breathe in, breathe out, slow down. When you get to the center of the labyrinth, it's a time when you can leave your worries, your stress, your questions with God, to sit there for a while and to rest in that peace. And then as you leave the labyrinth, you walk out the same path that you came in. And that's a time to maybe think about maybe what you've heard or learned as you've walked in the silence.
Other upcoming events include tomorrow's This I Believe and Make a Joyful Noise in front of the Founder statue from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., ornament making December 10th in the Blue, and carols by candlelight December 15th at 7 p.m. in Robert Carr Chapel. Lanza says it's important for the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life to be available to students who often experience a lot of personal change during their college years.
They're starting to figure out and ask questions around, what do I really believe? And so we want to be here for those questions, not necessarily to give an easy answer, but instead to walk with students as they ask those questions and as they journey towards who they are as a spiritual person and a person of faith.
Lanza said that tomorrow's events in front of the Founders statue may be relocated because of the frosty weather we've been having this week. The billionaire donors who contributed to Reese Jones Hall were honored at the building dedication Friday. The Reese Jones Foundation donated $20 million to the Institute for Child Development in 2013. Founder Trevor Reese Jones is the president and CEO of Chief Oil and Gas. The $27.2 million building houses the TCU Idea Factory, the Institute for Child Development, and the TCU Energy Institute, along with study rooms and classrooms. The Reese Jones Hall is the first interdisciplinary classroom building on campus.
Another sorority will be joining the Greek community. Phi Mu will be added to campus in the fall of 2016. Members of the Panhellenic Council voted unanimously last month to delay the additional Panhellenic group. Panhellenic President Margot Hebert said the existing organizations need to be stronger before adding another chapter. Phi Mu was originally planned to be added next fall. Students from South Hills High School are getting cooking experience. This is the first year South Hills students have had the opportunity to cook in Market Square. The students come to campus Tuesdays and Thursdays. They have been helping out in Market Square since September.
Our first year actually to try it out, so it's really exciting for us. It's a great experience for the kids to learn part of the industry.
I think it's fun to see the young kids in and they're smiling, they're so excited to be here.
The students will be cooking on campus until the end of the year.
Author Robert Boswell visited campus to read from his recent novel, Tumbledown. Boswell shared his writing process strategies with the audience. He said his writing experience is similar to the creative process of a jazz pianist. His lecture was in the second installment of TCU's annual Live Oak reading series. More than 80 TCU students and faculty attended the reading. A student's class project is turning into something bigger than she ever imagined. Samantha Kalimbahan has the story.
Dear friends, my name is Cora Lynn, and today I want to take you on an adventure, my adventure.
It's an adventure that began as a class project.
I did not think I would be an author of a book, ever.
Jessica Caceres is an early childhood education major. Earlier this year, she took a class called Educational Psychology. One of her assignments, to put together a project that catered to multiple learning styles.
Caceres wrote and painted this book about a butterfly's life cycle. She got an A on the project, and that's when she decided to turn this into this, an ebook that can now be found on Amazon.com.
Because the book is self-published and she hasn't done much marketing, Caceres hasn't sold many copies yet. She hopes to officially publish the book through TCU Press.
That's probably something, because of the connection with the TCU student, that we'd like to do. And it also would be something that about a year from now would be good to come out with for the Christmas season.
The publication process can take months, but Caceres says she isn't worried about the wait. She's receiving good feedback from parents who have purchased the book. and she says seeing children learn is all that matters.
Oh, it makes me feel amazing. Like, sorry, I'm gonna cry. Like, even just thinking of myself as a teacher, helping kids, you can't ask for anything else.
Learning, perhaps the most exciting adventure of all. Samantha Kalimbahin, TCU News Now.
Caceres says she plans to write sequels to her book as part of a series called The Adventures of Cora Lynn. That's all we have for you this week on TCU News Now.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day.